Imagine stepping onto a strange train. No destination signs, no station names. Instead, above the door hangs a giant clock. Each tick of its second hand does not mark a second of your life. It marks 1 million years of Earth's history. This train will run for exactly 1 hour, and when it stops, you will have witnessed the entire 4.5 billion years of our planet's story compressed into a single journey. You sit down. The engine thunders with a low, steady rhythm like the heartbeat of a cosmic beast. But each pulse wipes away an age. Outside the window there are no forests, no mountains, no skies. Instead, you see streaks of colour, furious reds like molten lava, choking blacks of endless smoke, deep blues of young oceans, and blinding whites of global ice. These are not landscapes, they are eras, rushing by like frames in a film on fast forward. A voice echoes from nowhere. Hold on tight. Each blink could erase hundreds of millions of years. Look away for too long, and you might miss the dinosaurs' reign, or the moment humanity flickers into existence. You turn to find the source, but there is no one beside you. The train is empty. You realize the story itself is your only companion. In the first 10 seconds, you will travel farther than any science fiction saga ever dared. Count down. 10, 9, 8. At 0, you will slam into the fiery birth of Earth, a newborn world carved out of chaos. But here's the truth that will shake you. The real shock is not what came before. It's what comes at the very end. If the whole history of Earth fits into this 1 hour ride, then the entire story of humanity takes place in less than a single blink of your eye. One blink, one breath, and maybe gone forever. The train surges forward. The light outside warps into infinite bands of colour, like time itself is stretching. The familiar world you know, blue skies, green forests, oceans glittering in the sun, represents almost nothing. For most of its existence, Earth was unrecognisable. It was hellfire, it was ice, it was ruled by monsters, and more than once it nearly became just another dead rock drifting silently through space. Still here? Then you've chosen to ride until the end. And now I'll ask you the question that will haunt you for the next hour. How many more seconds do you think humanity has left on this train before it derails into nothingness? Don't look away. Stay with me on this ride, because in the next few minutes you will witness the birth of Earth itself, the first sparks of life and the cataclysms that almost erased it all. The train shudders. Outside the window, the universe itself is still young, just a swirling chaos of dust and fire left behind by a dying star. Then, with a violent jolt, matter slams together. A glowing sphere emerges. This is Earth, but not the Earth you know. This is a world of fire. The ground is oceans of lava. Rivers of molten rock stretch from horizon to horizon, pouring like blood from an open wound. Volcanoes roar without rest, vomiting ash into a poisonous sky. The atmosphere is a suffocating mix of carbon dioxide, methane and nitrogen, deadly to every breath you'll ever take. It is the Hadean Aeon, named after the god of the underworld. And in many ways that's exactly what this Earth is, a burning hell. But then something unthinkable happens. Out of the darkness, a wandering planet the size of Mars, Theia, slams into Earth. The collision is so catastrophic it nearly tears the young planet apart. A spray of molten rock shoots into space, circling Earth in a glowing halo. Over time, that halo clumps together, and from the wreckage, the moon is born. Look out the train window now. The moon hangs impossibly close, filling half the night sky, and if you were standing on Earth at that time, it would look enormous, almost brushing the horizon. But don't get used to it. With every million years that tick past, the moon drifts farther and farther away, shrinking into the small, distant face we know today. Back on Earth, chaos rules. The surface is a molten wasteland, reshaped again and again by constant asteroid bombardments. Every few minutes of your ride, another mountain-sized rock smashes into the planet, boiling oceans before they can even form, ripping craters that glow like open wounds. The young sun is 30% dimmer than the one you see today, but don't think that means Earth is cold. Greenhouse gases trap heat so intensely that this planet remains an inferno. And yet, even in this apocalyptic furnace, clues whisper of something else. Hidden inside tiny crystals called zircons, older than almost anything else we've ever found, lies evidence that water may have existed on Earth even then. Imagine that. Amid all the fire, droplets of liquid water clinging stubbornly to rock, a hint of the oceans to come. For 90 million years, the world remains a nightmare of lava and fire. That's longer than the time between dinosaurs and us, and still, life has not even begun. The window shows nothing but volcanic wasteland. You might feel tempted to look away, to fast forward this part of the ride, but don't. This is the crucible in which the building blocks of life are forged. And here's the twist. As hopeless as this hellscape looks, scientists believe that somewhere in these conditions, between violent impacts and boiling seas, the very chemistry of life may have begun to stir. Simple molecules colliding, recombining, hiding in pockets of liquid water. Waiting for a chance. Your train keeps racing. Another asteroid smashes Earth, shaking the cabin. Ash clouds rise, blocking out the sun. For a moment, everything looks like it could collapse into silence. But the world survives. It always survives. By now, hundreds of millions of years have passed. The lava seas slowly harden into crust. Rain begins to fall, endless rain lasting millions of years. Imagine the hiss of steam as droplets meet molten rock, cooling it, carving the first oceans. The Earth is transforming, reshaping itself from a burning hell into something new. Still, the air is poison, the land barren, the seas hot enough to kill any modern life instantly. And yet, if you lean close to the window, you'll sense it. The faint stirrings of change. The stage is being set. Something is about to arrive that will alter the fate of this fiery rock forever. Mini Hook. What if, against all odds, the first spark of life is already here, hidden in the vents of the newborn ocean, waiting for its cue to enter the story? The train rattles as eons flash by outside your window. The fiery oceans of lava that once dominated Earth are cooling, their glow fading into hard, cracked stone. And then, the sky darkens. Clouds, thick and endless, roll in. For the first time, the heavens weep. Rain begins to fall, not for days, not for weeks, but for millions of years. Imagine storms so relentless they never stop. Lightning rips through the atmosphere like giant whips of fire, while raindrops hammer the surface with such force that molten rock hisses and boils with every impact. What you are witnessing is the birth of Earth's oceans. The water carves channels into the crust, fills the lowest basins, and spreads across the surface until, finally, much of the planet is covered in endless seas. Outside your train window, Earth begins to shimmer blue for the first time. The world you see is still toxic, still alien, but no longer only a furnace of stone. It now carries the weight of oceans that will cradle the future. Yet these oceans are far from safe. Imagine stepping into them, if you could. The water is hot, nearly scalding, as warm as a hot tub turned lethal. Steam rises endlessly, cloaking the horizon in haze. The chemistry within these oceans is wild, unstable, chaotic. Minerals gush from deep within the earth, spewing through hydrothermal vents that glow like underwater chimneys. Black smoke clouds the sea, rich with iron, sulfur, and other elements, poison to us, but maybe, just maybe, food for something new. And here lies one of the greatest mysteries of all time. Was this hostile, boiling sea the place where life first sparked into being? Some scientists believe these vents, with their strange chemical soups and constant energy, may have been the perfect cradle for the very first cells. Simple molecules tossed around in this storm of heat and minerals might have joined together, forming fragile structures that could copy themselves. If so, the roots of every living thing you know, trees, whales, humans, may trace back to this alien, steaming abyss. Your train barrels forward, seconds passing, millions of years dissolving in the blink of an eye. Outside, continents are still unborn, but the oceans are restless. Deep below the surface, tectonic plates shift, collide, and grind, creating the seeds of future landmasses. Time plays tricks on you here. From your seat, 1 billion years passes like a gust of wind, and yet every detail matters. Each drop of rain, each bubble of gas, each mineral drifting in the water could mean the difference between a sterile world and one alive with possibility. Then comes the first clue that life has already joined the stage: stromatolites, strange layered mounds of rock that rise from the shallow seas. They may not look impressive, but these are built by colonies of microorganisms. Fossilized stromatolites, over 3 billion years old, still exist on Earth today, silent monuments to life's earliest architects. Through them, we glimpse the beginning of photosynthesis, microbes that eat sunlight and release oxygen as waste. It seems insignificant, almost laughable, but this tiny innovation will eventually change the planet's entire atmosphere. Without it, complex life would never appear. And yet, at this moment, the oceans remain hostile, oxygen still scarce, the air still suffocating. Life clings to the vents and the shallows, unseen by the naked eye. You might press your forehead to the glass of the train window, straining to spot something larger, something alive enough to move, but all you see are rippling waters and alien chemistry. Still, don't look away, because here, in these invisible worlds, the future is quietly being written. From these fragile beginnings will rise everything from dinosaurs to humans. Mini-hook. What if life has already begun, and we simply can't see it yet? What if, hidden in these seas, the first cells are already dividing, already waiting to inherit the Earth? The train hurtles deeper into time. Outside your window, the endless oceans ripple under a dimmer sun. Still weaker than today, its light struggling to pierce the haze of greenhouse gases. The Earth is cooling, but it is not calm. Asteroids continue to rain down, smashing into the surface with devastating fury. Each collision throws walls of fire into the sky, reshaping coastlines before they even exist. Yet amid this violence, something extraordinary is unfolding, hidden in the steaming depths of the sea. Peer closer. Down near the cracks in the ocean floor where black smokers gush superheated water, you'll find a bizarre chemistry at work. Minerals bubble up from the crust, mixing with carbon-rich waters. Heat, pressure, and time weave these elements into new combinations. In this alien cauldron, something happens that defies imagination. The first true cells emerge. Think of it, microscopic bubbles made of fragile membranes, trapping strands of molecules inside. Some of these strands accidentally carry information, patterns that can copy themselves. It's primitive, it's fragile, but it's alive. Here, at last, Earth is no longer just a rock floating through space. It is a world with life. The first organisms are simple, single-celled and invisible. You couldn't see them with your eyes even if you stood in those boiling seas, but their arrival is monumental. From these tiny pioneers will eventually descend every fish, every tree, every dinosaur, and every human. All of it, everything, begins here, in the shadow of volcanic chimneys under an alien ocean. Outside your train window, time continues to accelerate. Hundreds of millions of years pass in the span of a heartbeat. Life spreads across the seas, clinging to rocks, drifting in currents, multiplying in the darkness. The planet is still toxic, the air unbreathable, the ocean's far too hot, yet these cells endure. They adapt, they thrive. And here's the shocking truth. This story has already taken hundreds of millions of years, yet all life on Earth is still nothing but microbes. Imagine it. For nearly 3 billion years of Earth's history, life never grows larger than a single cell. Dinosaurs. Still unthinkable. Humans, inconceivable. At this point, Earth is a microbial world ruled by invisible kingdoms of bacteria. But don't underestimate them. These early cells are not just surviving, they are inventing. They discover new tricks. Some harvest energy from chemicals, some capture light from the sun. Slowly, quietly, they change the planet itself. By releasing gases, by shaping rocks, by building structures, these tiny organisms begin to engineer Earth on a global scale. You glance outside the window again. The seas are dotted with strange forms. Stromatolites, the living rock towers built layer upon layer by microbial colonies. They look like alien coral rising from shallow waters. They are crude, yes, but they are also proof. Life is here, life is leaving its mark. Think about it. You are watching the earliest architects of Earth's transformation. Without them, the atmosphere would never fill with oxygen. Without them, no plants, no animals, no humans would ever appear. The future of everything depends on these silent, microscopic pioneers. And yet, they have no idea what they're building. They are not conscious, they are not aware, they simply exist to multiply and persist. But through them, a revolution is quietly being written in the oceans. The train shakes as time leaps forward. Outside, the sky flickers with meteors. The surface of Earth is still dangerous, still chaotic, but the oceans hold the seeds of something unstoppable. Mini-hook. If life has already begun in such hostile conditions, what might it do next? Could these tiny cells one day change the planet itself? and in doing so pave the way for every creature that will ever walk the earth. The train clatters forward, its windows glowing with the light of 1 billion years slipping past. Outside, Earth is no longer just a molten wasteland. It is a planet of oceans alive with invisible microbes. They rule the seas, countless single cells drifting, multiplying, adapting. And then, somewhere among them, a few stumble upon a trick so powerful it will transform the entire planet: photosynthesis. These tiny architects, cyanobacteria, learn how to capture sunlight and use it to build food. It seems so simple, so small, but their waste product is oxygen, and oxygen changes everything. At first, it seems like nothing. The oxygen released dissolves into the oceans, reacting with iron to create vast bands of rust-coloured rock that still stripe cliffs today. Then slowly the oceans saturate. Oxygen begins to leak into the air, filling an atmosphere that had always been deadly with a new reactive gas. Here is the paradox. What we see as life's greatest gift was, for early microbes, a poison. Oxygen is corrosive, destructive, a gas that shreds fragile cells not built to withstand it. For much of life, this was not a revolution. It was a catastrophe. Entire lineages suffocated and vanished. A mass extinction unseen unfolded in the microscopic world. But those that survived adapted. They used oxygen not as a threat, but as fuel. They evolved ways to breathe it, to harness its power. For them, this poison became energy on a scale never before possible. And with that, the stage was set for complexity. Outside your train window, the transformation is staggering. The sky, once choked with methane, begins to clear. For the first time, the atmosphere carries oxygen, a gas that will one day fill your lungs. The air is still thin, but it is changing, molecule by molecule, year after year. Then comes the backlash. The release of oxygen strips methane, a powerful greenhouse gas, from the sky, plunging Earth into its first great ice age. The planet freezes over, seas locked beneath sheets of ice. For millions of years, Earth becomes a snowball drifting through space. Imagine looking out the train window now. The once steaming oceans are capped with white, continents hidden under glaciers. The entire planet seems lifeless, entombed in ice, and yet deep beneath the frozen surface, in pockets of liquid water, life clings on. Microbes endure, biding their time, refusing to let go. This cycle of invention and destruction becomes Earth's signature. Progress comes at a cost. Every leap forward wipes out something, but it also opens doors for what comes next. Oxygen, once a deadly toxin, is now rewriting the rules of survival. And in this frozen silence, something else brews. The tectonic plates shift, volcanoes roar. Carbon dioxide once again floods the skies. Slowly the ice retreats, the oceans thaw, and Earth breathes again. Life emerges stronger, more diverse, ready for the next chapter. You glance back at the train's clock. 2 billion years have passed since the ride began. Half of Earth's history gone, and yet all life is still microscopic. For billions of years, the planet remains a microbial world. But now the foundation has been laid. Oxygen in the air, the chemistry of survival forever altered. Mini-hook. If oxygen could rewrite the entire planet once, what else might it unleash? Could it be the key to unlocking life beyond microbes? Life that will one day rise to unimaginable forms? The train rattles on, and outside your window the frozen Earth begins to thaw. Volcanoes roar with fury, spewing carbon dioxide back into the atmosphere, warming the planet once again. The glaciers recede, oceans swell. Life, though microscopic, takes its chance and spreads further than before. But now the stage beneath those oceans begins to shift in ways that will reshape the face of Earth forever. Beneath the seas, titanic slabs of crust grind and collide. This is the birth of plate tectonics as we know it, the restless conveyor belt of continents. When these plates crash together, mountains rise from the sea. When they tear apart, new oceans are born. Slowly, pieces of landmass stitch themselves into something larger. For the first time, supercontinents appear. Look outside the window and you'll see Columbia, one of Earth's earliest supercontinents, rising from the depths. Imagine vast land masses where none existed before. Bare rock jutting into poisonous skies, battered endlessly by storms. There are no plants, no animals, no forests, only stone, rain, and silence. Yet this silent rearrangement of the surface will dictate everything that follows. Where oceans churn, where volcanoes erupt, where life finds refuge, it is all determined by this tectonic ballet. But Earth is not finished with catastrophe. Around 2 billion years ago, a monster arrives from the heavens. A colossal asteroid slams into the planet, carving out the Vredefort crater. Even after 2 billion years of erosion, it remains the largest verified impact structure on Earth. Picture it, a rock nearly 10 miles wide tearing through the sky, releasing energy that dwarfs every nuclear weapon humanity will ever build combined. The impact reshapes entire regions, shaking the planet to its core, and yet life survives. It always does. Microbes cling to the oceans, hiding from destruction, and even in the chaos, they continue to adapt. Meanwhile, something astonishing stirs beneath your feet. In what is now Gabon, uranium deposits arrange themselves into a natural nuclear reactor. Without human hands, without machines, the Earth itself begins to split atoms, releasing energy deep underground. It burns quietly for hundreds of thousands of years, a natural atomic fire. Proof that even in the deep past, Earth was full of surprises beyond our imagination. Outside your train window, eons slip by. Continents drift, collide, break apart again. Mountains rise, crumble, and vanish into dust. Oceans shift and reshape the map of the planet again and again. To you, it looks like a frantic dance of stone and water. To Earth, it is simply breathing. All the while, life is preparing its next great leap. The oxygen-rich atmosphere, the shifting seas, the mixing of minerals from tectonic collisions, together they create a new kind of crucible. Cells begin experimenting, absorbing one another, merging, inventing something that has never existed before. Mini-hook. What if the chaos of colliding continents and falling asteroids is not just destruction but creation? What if, hidden in the shadows, this violence has given birth to a new kind of cell, one that will rewrite the future of life itself? The train surges forward, its wheels grinding as hundreds of millions of years vanish in seconds. Outside the window, continents drift like rafts across a restless sea. The world is still hostile. Volcanoes roar, storms lash the coasts, and the air remains heavy with gases. But deep in the oceans, something extraordinary is happening. Until now, life has been simple. Tiny, single cells surviving an endless repetition. For billions of years, that was enough. But then, against all odds, two of these cells come together, not in competition, but in cooperation. One swallows the other, and instead of digesting it as though they form a partnership. What emerges is a eukaryote, a cell with a nucleus, a cell with compartments, a cell with complexity. This is no small step. It is one of the most important leaps in the history of life. The larger cell offers protection. The smaller one, an ancestor of the mitochondrion, becomes a powerhouse, turning oxygen into efficient energy. Together, they create a supercharged organism capable of doing more, growing larger, and exploring possibilities that single cells never could. From your train seat, it doesn't look like much. Through the glass, the oceans remain empty to the naked eye, just rippling blue. But if you could dive down and peer through a microscope, you would witness a revolution. Complex cells spreading quietly, forming colonies, experimenting with new shapes and strategies. This is the raw material for everything that follows. Plants, animals, fungi, all built on this foundation. Imagine the weight of this moment. Billions of years of microbial monotony, shattered by a chance merger. Without it, the Earth might have remained forever invisible, a world ruled only by bacteria. No forests, no fish, no dinosaurs, no humans, just endless microscopic sameness. But with this one partnership, the door to true complexity has been flung wide open. The train rocks as time rushes ahead. The oceans grow shallower as continents rise, exposing new coastlines. The crust thickens, land masses grow heavier, mountain ranges rise and collapse. Through it all, eukaryotic cells quietly spread, preparing the stage for multicellular life. And then something else appears, strange. Thread-like organisms that resemble fungi. They extend tubular arms, breaking down matter in their alien seas. Primitive, yes, but a sign that life is already trying to diversify, already testing new forms. The Earth is beginning to feel alive in ways it never has before. But don't be fooled. For hundreds of millions of years to come, life will still remain invisible to your eyes. If you stepped out of the train, stood on the shore of this ancient ocean, and scanned the horizon, you'd see nothing. No trees, no animals, only bare rock and endless waves. And yet, beneath those waves, the greatest transformation in history is underway. Outside your window, the Earth's inner core begins to crystallize. Deep beneath the crust, a solid iron heart takes shape, surrounded by molten metal. With it comes the magnetic field that shields the planet from deadly solar radiation. Without this invisible guardian, life's fragile experiments might never have survived. And so, against all odds, complexity flourishes. Tiny cells with nuclei spread across the seas, carrying the promise of every future kingdom of life. Mini-hook. If cells can merge to create something greater than themselves, what comes next? Could they join forces again, not just as individuals, but as entire colonies, setting the stage for creatures beyond imagination? The train roars on. Outside your window, the Earth looks deceptively calm. Oceans stretching vast and blue, continents bare and silent. No forests yet, no animals, no birdsong, just stone, water and sky. But beneath the waves in the invisible world of cells, an innovation has just been born, and it will change everything. For billions of years, life has been simple. Cells divide by cloning themselves, copying their day, splitting in two. It works, but it's limited. Mistakes pile up, diversity comes slowly, evolution creeps. But now, some organisms stumble upon a new strategy. Combine, exchange genetic material, mix and match. This is the invention of sex. It seems almost laughably small. In the fossil record, it is marked by an unassuming red alga called Bangiomorpha pubescens, living around 1.2 billion years ago. But don't let the name fool you. This humble alga sparks a revolution. By reproducing sexually, organisms can shuffle their genetic decks, creating endless variation. Every generation becomes a new experiment. Evolution speeds up. Look out the train window. You still won't see much. These are microscopic dramas playing out in alien seas. But if you could shrink yourself down, you'd witness the first genetic dances. Cells pairing, exchanging information, creating offspring that are not clones, but something new. In this hidden theatre, diversity explodes, and sex does more than just shuffle genes. It arms life with resilience. By mixing DNA, populations can adapt faster to changing environments. It is a survival weapon, forged in the depths of ancient oceans. Without it, complex life might never have risen. Every tree, every insect, every human romance, every heartbreak, all to trace their origin back to this simple innovation in the deep past. But sex also has consequences. Where there is reproduction, there is competition. Where there is competition, there is conflict. Somewhere in these ancient seas, predators appear for the first time, unicellular hunters that devour other cells. Evolution accelerates not just through mixing, but through war. The microbial world is now an arms race. New defenses, new strategies, new ways to survive. Imagine it. For over 2 billion years, Earth was ruled by invisible single-celled life forms, locked in slow repetition. Now, with the invention of sex and the rise of predators, the tempo of life has quickened. The planet has become a battlefield of innovation. Outside your window, the continents continue to drift, colliding, splitting, reshaping oceans. Tectonic forces shuffle the map again and again. Above, the skies shift too. The sun grows brighter, slowly warming the planet. Time is building towards something unprecedented. And yet, to the naked eye, Earth still looks empty. No fish leap, no trees sway, no footprints mark the land. Just oceans, whispering secrets you cannot see. But beneath those waves, the rules of the game have changed forever. Mini-hook. If sex can speed up evolution and predators can drive competition, what happens when life finally escapes the microscopic world? The answer is coming, and it will erupt in an explosion unlike anything Earth has ever seen. The train shudders violently, as if it too feels the chill creeping across the planet. Outside your window, the once blue oceans glaze over with white. Ice spreads from the poles toward the equator, racing across continents, choking seas, sealing the Earth beneath a frozen shell. For the first time in its history, the entire planet teeters on the edge of death. This is the Cryogenian period, Snowball Earth. Imagine standing on its surface. Wherever you look, there is no green, no blue, only white and silence. Oceans lie beneath sheets of ice hundreds of meters thick. The air is thin, the winds howl with lethal chill. If you were here, unprotected, you would die in minutes. Scientists still argue how it happened. Perhaps volcanic eruptions stripped greenhouse gases from the sky. Perhaps tectonic shifts rearranged continents, altering currents and reflecting sunlight away. Whatever the cause, the result is the same. A world locked in ice for tens of millions of years. The train window frosts over as eons slide by. It looks like everything should end here, but life, astonishingly, refuses to surrender. Microbes cling to pockets of liquid water near volcanic vents under the ice. Others survive in thin films where sunlight still reaches shallow seas. Evolution does not stop. In fact, it sharpens. Only the toughest endure. And though the Earth begins to fight back, volcanoes erupt again, pumping carbon dioxide into the air. For millions of years, greenhouse gases build until the ice finally begins to crack and retreat. Imagine the sound, glaciers shattering, oceans roaring back to life. Continents revealed once more. The snowball melts and Earth breathes again. But something has changed. After enduring such extremes, life is tougher, more resilient. The survivors are primed for a leap forward. It's as if evolution itself has been wound like a spring ready to snap loose. And then, it does. In the aftermath of Snowball Earth, complexity blooms. Multicellular organisms, strange alien forms, appear and spread. Some are soft-bodied, drifting like underwater carpets. Others look like abstract sculptures, discs, fronds, tubes. They are the first visible signs that life is no longer just microscopic. Look closely. The oceans are no longer empty. They are alien gardens, full of creatures unlike anything alive today. It is slow at first, fragile, but it is real. For the first time, the train window shows a world with life big enough to see. Snowball Earth nearly killed everything. Instead, it prepared life for its greatest explosion yet. Mini Hook. If Earth could freeze solid and still emerge with life stronger than ever, what happens when that spring finally snaps open? The answer will be the most dramatic burst of diversity the planet has ever seen, the Cambrian explosion. The train lurches, accelerating into a new world. Outside your window, the oceans shimmer with light, alive in a way they have never been before. After billions of years of invisible microbes, after the endless monotony of single cells, life finally bursts into view. This is the Cambrian explosion, an evolutionary detonation that rewrites the planet forever. Imagine the oceans as alien theatres, filling overnight with bizarre actors. Trilobites scuttle along the seafloor, armoured like ancient tanks. Spiky worms writhe through the sand, their bodies bristling with defences. Jellyfish-like creatures pulse through the water, while predators with terrifying eyes and snapping jaws stalk their prey. It is chaotic, surreal and fast. In just a geological heartbeat, tens of millions of years, most of the major animal groups that still exist today make their debut. The ancestors of fish, insects, crustaceans, even us, trace their lineage back to this explosion of life. Look through the train window and you'll see it unfold in dizzying detail. Strange arthropods the size of footballs glide across the seafloor. Anomalocaris, the terror of the Cambrian seas, hovers with its spiny limbs, seizing prey and tearing them apart. Creatures invent skeletons for the first time, building shells and armour to survive. In response, predators sharpen their tools, teeth and claws, evolving in an arms race. Evolution is no longer crawling, it is sprinting. On land, the continents remain barren. Bare rock stretches to the horizon, hammered by storms and sun. But in the oceans, life has crossed a threshold. Complexity is now the rule. For the first time, ecosystems form, hunters and prey, grazers and scavengers, webs of interaction that make the seas dynamic and alive. But this explosion is not without cost. Just as quickly as species appear, many vanish. Extinction is already part of the rhythm. Whole lineages flare into existence, dominate for a moment and then disappear forever. And yet the overall trajectory is unstoppable. Diversity skyrockets, Earth becoming a world of innovation. You glance at the clock on the train wall. In less than an hour of this ride, You've watched Earth evolve from molten rock to oceans of alien life. The sheer scale of the Cambrian explosion is dizzying. Everything familiar, trees, mammals, birds, is still far in the future. But the blueprint for complexity has now been written. Pause and let this sink in. If the train stopped here, if life had frozen in this Cambrian state, Earth would already be extraordinary, but this is just the beginning. The oceans will keep reinventing themselves, plants will colonize the land, forests will rise, and creatures will crawl out of the seas to claim the continents. The story is about to escalate again. Mini-hook. If life could burst into such diversity in the oceans, what happens when it dares to set foot on land? The leap from water to rock will trigger new empires, new forests, and ultimately the very coal we burn today. The train shakes as millions of years blur past the window. The Cambrian seas fade, replaced by strange new landscapes. For the first time, green begins to creep across the barren continents. Plants, simple at first, start to colonize the land, clinging to damp soils, spreading across riverbanks and marshes. Their presence transforms the air itself, pulling carbon dioxide out of the sky and releasing oxygen in return. Look outside now. The world has changed again. Vast forests rise, towering tree with bark thicker than armour, their roots weaving into endless swamps. The Carboniferous period has begun, and is one of Earth's most alien chapters. The air is heavy, oxygen-rich, in a way our modern world has never known. Levels climb to more than a third of the atmosphere, far higher than today. You can almost feel it from your seat. Every breath outside would be thick, almost intoxicating. This oxygen supercharges life and it creates giants. Insects dominate the skies and swamps, but they are not the insects you know. Dragonflies with wingspans wider than a hawk soar above the canopy. Millipedes the length of cars crawl through the undergrowth, their many legs stirring the swamp mud. Arachnids the size of wolves lurk in the shadows. The train window reveals a world where invertebrates rule, magnified into monsters by the chemistry of the air. Meanwhile, amphibians venture further onto land, their limbs strong enough to carry them beyond the water's edge. They hunt among the ferns and mosses, eyes scanning for prey in this new wilderness. The first vertebrates begin experimenting with life outside the sea, laying the groundwork for reptiles, mammals, and eventually humans. But the forests themselves hold a secret. Their dense plant matter, soaked in swamp water, resists decay. Layers of dead wood pile up, compressed over millions of years. Buried under sediment, they transform into something black and combustible. These carboniferous swamps are factories of coal, the very fuel humanity will dig up hundreds of millions of years later to power cities, machines, and empires. It's a strange twist. The lush forests you see outside your window are already shaping the fate of a species that won't exist for hundreds of millions of years. They are the ghosts of our future industry. Yet nothing on Earth lasts forever. As time races forward, climates shift, seas retreat, and many of these great forests collapse. Extinctions sweep across the land, reshaping ecosystems once again. The giants of the Carboniferous vanish, their reign cut short. But the memory of their world remains locked inside the seams of coal beneath the ground, waiting for humanity to set it aflame. You look out one last time. The swamp forests stretch to the horizon, mist rising through colossal trees, dragonflies darting like living drones. It feels alien, yet hauntingly familiar, because you are looking at the raw ingredients of your own civilization. Mini-hook. If forests could shape the destiny of humanity long before we existed, what happens when Earth herself decides to wipe the slate clean? Ahead lies the largest extinction event the planet has ever endured. The train growls into darker territory. Outside the window, the forests of the Carboniferous fade away, replaced by the supercontinent Pangaea, an immense landmass stretching almost pole to pole. Imagine one colossal continent, ringed by a single vast ocean. The world has never looked like this before, and it will never look quite like this again. At first, life thrives. Reptiles evolve tougher skins, freeing them from the swamps that held amphibians captive. They spread across deserts and plains, adapting to drier climates. Strange mammal-like reptiles emerge, their teeth sharp, their bodies sturdy, ruling the land. For a moment, it looks like Earth has entered a golden age of resilience. Then everything falls apart. Volcanoes roar to life in what is now Siberia. unleashing eruptions of unimaginable scale. Rivers of lava spill across continents, the sky darkens with ash, and poisonous gases flood the atmosphere. Carbon dioxide skyrockets, heating the planet to extremes. Oceans warm, their currents disrupted. Methane bubbles from the seafloor, amplifying the chaos. Look out the train window now. You will see devastation on a scale Earth has rarely known. Forests collapse into wastelands. Rivers dry into crack deserts. The oceans suffocate, their waters starved of oxygen. From shoreline to abyss, dead zones spread, choking out life. This is the Permian extinction, the Great Dying. It is the single most catastrophic event life has ever endured. More than 90% of marine species vanish. On land, 70% of all creatures are wiped away. Imagine almost everything you've seen so far, every lineage, every form, snuffed out in a geological instant. The world outside looks haunted. Corpses of coral reefs bleach and crumble. Once thriving ecosystems turn silent. Entire branches of the tree of life are erased, never to return. If the train could stop here. You might think Earth had lost the gamble forever, condemned to become just another sterile rock drifting in space. And yet, not everything dies. A few survivors endure in the shadows, burrowing animals that hide underground, microbes that adapt to the poisoned seas, small reptilian ancestors that cling to the edges of extinction. These fragile remnants are the seeds of recovery. The train clock ticks forward. Millions of years pass in seconds. Slowly, painfully, ecosystems begin to heal. The skies clear, the oceans recover. New species emerge to fill the empty niches left behind. Life reshapes itself, different from before but alive. Still, the Great Dying leaves a scar that will never fully fade. It is a reminder that Earth can destroy as easily as it creates, that survival is never guaranteed, that even in the face of annihilation, life persists, but it always comes at a cost. Mini-hook. If Earth could erase nearly all life and still rebound, what creatures might rise to claim the empty world? The answer lies just ahead, in an age ruled by giants, the dinosaurs. The train surges forward, leaving behind the silence of mass extinction. Outside your window, the Earth looks reborn. Forests spread once more, rivers carve new paths, and ecosystems bloom in the absence of what was lost. Into this vacuum, new rulers emerge, creatures unlike any that came before. The Triassic begins cautiously. Reptiles, small and wiry, scurry across the land. In the seas, marine reptiles like ichthyosaurs dive and hunt, sleek as dolphins but with jaws lined in teeth. Flying reptiles take to the skies, their leathery wings silhouetted against fiery sunsets. The planet feels alive again, but it is still searching for a true master. And then they arrive, dinosaurs. At first, they are modest, small, agile, fast, but over millions of years, they diversify, explode in size, and spread into every corner of Earth. Outside the window, the Jurassic world rolls past in a rush of colour and scale. Towering sauropods thunder across plains, their necks rising like skyscrapers into the canopy. Packs of raptors dart through the underbrush, coordinated, lethal. Giant stegosaurs, armoured with plates and spikes, graze in herds. The Earth is now theirs. Look closer at the skies. Primitive birds begin to appear, descendants of dinosaurs that test the air with feathered wings. Evolution is experimenting, pushing limits, inventing new forms. Insects hum through ancient forests, pollinating the first flowering plants. The Earth you see is both alien and strangely familiar. The seas, too, are alive with monsters. Plesiosaurs glide through the depths, their long necks weaving as they hunt. Mosasaurs, immense marine predators, snap through schools of fish like torpedoes with teeth. The oceans are as deadly as the land. It is paradise, but a fragile one. Time and again, extinction events strike. Volcanoes erupt, climates shift, but the dinosaurs endure. For over 60 million years, they dominate the planet. To put that into perspective, humans have existed for barely a heartbeat compared to their reign, and yet in the midst of their glory, the seeds of their downfall are already written in the stars. Here's where imagination collides with history. Humanity, far in the future, will dream of defending itself from cosmic threats. Ideas like the Star Wars-style planetary shield, a sci-fi vision of weapons in orbit blasting incoming asteroids. but the dinosaurs had no such chance. Their fate was sealed by a rock racing silently through space. Outside your window, the Mesozoic world dazzles with life. Herds of Triceratops graze on endless plains, Tyrannosaurus prowls with bone-crushing jaws, volcanoes simmer in the distance, but for now, the Earth seems stable, even idyllic. Nothing could possibly go wrong until it does. Mini-hook. What happens when paradise collides with catastrophe? The dinosaurs are about to meet their end, and their fall will open the door for us. The train jolts violently. Outside the window, paradise ends in fire. A massive asteroid streaks across the sky, brighter than 1,000 suns, and slams into what is now Mexico's Yucatan Peninsula. In an instant, forests ignite. Tsunamis ripple across oceans, dust and ash blot out the sun. The Age of Dinosaurs, after stimillion years of dominance, collapses in days. Look outside now. The great reptiles fall. Tyrannosaurs, Triceratops, Mosasaurs, all vanish. 3/4 of all species on Earth are erased in the chaos. It is one of the darkest chapters in Earth's story, yet it is also the beginning of something new. In the silence after catastrophe, smaller survivors emerge from the shadows. They are not towering giants, not armoured behemoths. They are mammals, tiny, warm-blooded, fur-covered creatures that once hid in burrows, living under the feet of dinosaurs. With the monsters gone, they seize the empty world. Watch through the train window as they spread. Rodent-like mammals scurry across ash-covered landscapes. Primitive primates leap from branch to branch in recovering forests. Over millions of years, they diversify, growing larger, inventing new forms, taking roles once held by reptiles. Some return to the seas, becoming whales and dolphins. Others climb trees, developing grasping hands. And one lineage, improbably, begins the long journey toward humanity. The Earth itself reshapes too. Continents drift into positions that look familiar: Africa, Asia, the Americas, Australia. Mountains rise, oceans settle into patterns that will guide climate for millions of years. The planet looks like home now, even though humans are still tens of millions of years away. And here is where we step into imagination. Humanity someday will dream of taking control of fate in ways the dinosaurs never could. If we faced their asteroid today, would we stop it? Some propose building massive shields in space, a real-life space gold rush, where asteroids are not just threats but resources, mines of iron, platinum, and even water. Imagine fleets of machines carving into cosmic rocks, not to fear them but to harness them. Would such power secure our survival, or simply tempt new disasters? The train speeds on outside. Mammal empires expand, herds of grazing giants, packs of hunters, entire ecosystems reborn. Birds, the last living dinosaurs, soar above, sharing the skies with bats. The world feels vibrant again, as if life has been reborn from the ashes. But if history has taught us anything, it's this: every triumph is temporary. The dinosaurs once seemed eternal, and they are gone. The mammals may rule now, but nothing on Earth is permanent. Mini-hook. If humans are the latest heirs of this story, what does that mean for us? Are we the final chapter, or just another fleeting experiment in Earth's endless book? The train clock ticks toward the final seconds. Outside your window, the continents have settled into their modern shapes. The forests, mountains, and oceans look familiar now. It feels like home, but don't be fooled, nearly the entire journey has passed. The dinosaurs are gone, the mammals reign, and still you have not seen humanity. And then, almost too quickly to notice, we appear. In the last sliver of this 1-hour ride, the vast sweep of human history unfolds in less than a blink. Our lineage of primates branches into early hominins. Tiny bands of hunters cross grasslands. Stone tools clatter in firelight. Civilizations rise along rivers, build cities, chart the stars. Empires fall, wars burn, machines roar, skyscrapers pierce the sky, rockets touch the moon. All of it, every invention, every battle, every song, fits within a few fleeting seconds of Earth's grand film. Look out the train window now. The view is no longer alien oceans or monstrous reptiles. It is you, humanity itself, shaping the planet in ways no other species ever has. Forests vanish, ice melts, skies darken with carbon. Cities glow like constellations. We have become a geological force, changing Earth faster than volcanoes, faster than asteroids. It is dizzying, almost absurd. For 4.5 billion years, Earth was not ours, And yet, in this microscopic sliver of time, we act as if we own it. But here is the twist. If all of Earth's history fits into 1 hour, humanity's story is shorter than a single breath. Dinosaurs ruled for millions upon millions of years. Stromatolites shaped the world for billions. We have existed for only moments. So the question is not just where we came from, but how long we will remain. Outside the train, the horizon stretches into the unknown. There is no guarantee the ride continues. Another asteroid could fall, a supervolcano could erupt, or we ourselves could write our own ending through greed, war, or neglect. And yet the possibility is still open. Humanity is the only species to understand this clock, the only one to grasp how small our moment truly is. That knowledge is both a burden and a gift. The train begins to slow, the window dims, the voice that guided you since the beginning whispers one last time, "Earth is ancient. You are new, so new. The film is still rolling, but will you be in the next frame?" So tell me, what do you think will end humanity's chapter on this train? Nature, ourselves, or something no one sees coming? The screen fades to black, the ride is over, but the question lingers.